against companies. He wants a racism clause. He wants the union to make him strong. Strong in what regard? To be racist. Without any sort of like financial scrutiny. That's crazy.
Out to anyone else who's at the front lines fighting.
Yeah, a police union. Literally a police union. Exactly.
For this country. And we're done. All of this stops right now. You will never hear from me again. I will go out and sing your praises. You can pick up the phone. You have my word. That's all it is. That's all this is about.
Man, he's so brave, dude.
In the interim, to everyone else, stopbigcon.com. Be a signatory.
That's awesome. That's, God, every part of this is fucking awesome.
Even try to make this anything but a selfish act that was to benefit Steven Crowder, who wants to launch his own network. Because, and by the way, I gotta say this is the most important part of this, and nobody is talking about this. He receives the term sheet, okay, and he thinks it's so egregious that he's got to make this video 4 months later, right? I don't know what happened in those 4 months after they started negotiating. I guess Steven Crowder woke up, new year, new me. I hate the Daily Wire, so I'm going to go after them. He thinks it's so egregious. The first thing he does is counteroffer and say, let's start talking about 140 million, okay? So if it was so outrageous, why did he go back to them and say, no, actually, we can have this conversation, but let's start talking about 140 million, right? It was only when the Daily Wire then turned that down that the term sheet became so egregious that he had to do something about it.
I'll just add real quick to everybody. Steven Crowder is coming on the show on Monday. I know he's not here to defend himself.
Did you speak to him? Because he might have recorded your conversation, so you might want to come to him about whatever the hell it is you said to him.
I mean... Yeah, my view is I was kind of surprised to hear that Steven recorded the phone call with Jeremy because...
Dude, it's so sick. They're just fighting each other. This is awesome.
Mentioned that
God, this is such a good day for like the worst people on the planet. Us, okay? The sweatiest fucking losers that care about this shit. Us, I mean, this community. It's like This is like gift wrap for me.
There's over X amount of years. And they said, we just can't do this, right? Then he sat and he stewed and he said nothing until 1 week ago. He reaches out to Jeremy and he asks him to talk on the phone. And that was 1 week ago. That is the conversation that you guys are all hearing that he is playing right now. So he plotted this. This is a plot line. He planned to then record him to go back and to make this video. If he had recorded this way back during negotiations, maybe you could say there was no plot. Why did he reach out to Jeremy exactly 1 week ago when they hadn't discussed anything pertaining to the contract and they said no and walked away last year around October, November? And then suddenly in January, he reaches out 1 week ago and says, hey, can we get on the phone? And he decides, maybe I should record this. Well, no, it's because he realized he had nowhere left to go, and his next plot in this storyline, in this terrible childhood acting that he's doing right now, was, okay, I have to do my own thing now, and so I need to drum up some drama to get everybody that I know to believe that I'm a martyr for our beliefs, and they should dump their subscriptions to everybody else that's part of BigCon and join the Mug Club. How can people not see? I mean, the writing is just so on the wall.
The fact that he recorded Jeremy says that he did plan. Look, I'm not here to impugn his honor. I think you're absolutely entitled to your view, having working with the Daily Wire and everything you've seen. But it does suggest that he knew he was calling Jeremy for this reason. I think Crowder is. I don't know if I think it might be too far for me to believe that Crowder is trying to do this to pull subscribers from Daily Wire or make more money for himself, because the dude already makes a lot of money.
But he does not. He thinks that he is worthy of $140 million a year. Do you believe that Steven Crowder right now is making $140 million a year?
I bet he could.
You bet he could?
I absolutely do.
You bet he could, but how's he got to do that? How's he got to start that? He just had
no shot. No, you're crazy. What?
In a conservative movement, and you move people away from a business that you want to model. I don't know who's modeling who. I don't know who started this first, but you basically say, I'm not them, come with me. And that's exactly what he's doing. Call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade, okay? This was a plot line, and that annoys me because he dragged me into this plot line, okay? He dragged us all into this plot line. He's basically saying, at one point in his video, this is what really set me off. He's like, and so you might be noticing that a lot of these people, their viewpoints are sanitized, and this is why. this contract. This is why. Essentially saying that Candace is controlled.
Much like the never-kevers in Congress basically did what conservatives have been doing in Congress, but inside of the conservative party, obstructionism, Steven Crowder is doing what conservatives do, conservative media people do, but to other conservative media people. Create a problem where no such problem exists and make it seem like you are the only arbiter of truth. That's it. This is literally him doing too much conservatism in the wrong place. It's awesome. They're doing the thing. They're doing the thing that I shit on everyone in the fucking Splinter Discord servers about all the goddamn time. Like I saw, you're not woke enough. You're not fucking woke enough. You're not woke enough. You're not catering to my expectations. Whew. So good. I love this.
It's like the Joe Rogan story I often tell, that he booted me from his show twice, and I didn't get mad at him. I was like, well, I'm kind of pissed off that he booted me twice, like happened twice, and I flew out to LA, but he doesn't owe me any favors.
What a cuck.
I'm not going to rag on Joe Rogan because he didn't do me a favor. If I was on his show, it'd be really great for me. It didn't work out. I'm going to carry on with my life and my business. I've negotiated with the Daily Wire. We couldn't figure out something that worked. We're very different in that sense. And I said, well, it was nice hanging out, and let's work on stuff in the future, and we'll make awesome stuff. I told Steven, I said, I think that the Daily Wire is a massive net positive, especially with like What is a Woman? I mean, that was a massive cultural force that got even mainstream like moderate lefty types to be like, oh yeah, I've seen that, and start this conversation. Then you did the BLM documentary, of course, that had I don't think it was nearly as big as What is a Woman, but it certainly had a cultural response.
Oh shit,
these things are tremendous.
Shat on her directly to her face. Yeah, your BLM shit was like kind of ass, but
the contracts, like they're very business like, the very entertainment industry. I understand that the Daily Wire does it. If someone came to me and said, we're going to get investors, we're going to get some prominent conservative voices, and we're going to launch a company that rivals Disney, I'd be like, man, I don't like Disney. And they'll go, yeah, but it will be America-loving, independently minded, meritocratic. I'll say, oh, I'll take that over Disney any day. And then I'll go and do my thing that I think should be the way I want it to be. And I'm not going to be mad at the Daily Wire for the Daily Wire doing a thing. Like,
yeah, Bill, what you're describing first and foremost are the free markets, right? If you don't like it somewhere, leave. I thought we were conservatives. I thought that's what we were trying to preserve, right? A free market mentality. If Daily Wire is so awful, right, and so predatory and treating their talent so horrifically, they'd have no talent, right? Then literally, Steven Crowder wouldn't have to launch a war. He just have to launch an alternative business with better contracts, and people would leave willingly. They would say, there's more money there, there's better treatment, I'm leaving. That's how the free markets work, right? Because he did not feel, maybe he's feeling a little insecure.
This community has grown to an incredible size, but we still can't get fucking 55,000 people watching on live streams. Still an L, okay? 15K away from that. Eventually we'll get there. We'll pass Tim Pool's live stream numbers.
I was feeling insecure. I think he was reeling after those negotiations. I think there are very few conservative networks that can offer him that money. He's actually, he's burned a few bridges, right? Fox News, he's burned a bridge. He's burned a bridge with The Blaze. How many other companies in the conservative movement does he think can reasonably afford to pay him what he thinks he's worth, right? The Daily Wire. So when he was done, I think that he was feeling tremendously insecure, right? When those negotiations failed in October or November, he stewed on it in November, stewed on it in December, came up in January and decided, okay, I'm going to have to launch my own outfit. I'm going to go after the Daily Wire. And his plot line included calling Jeremy Boring, catching him on we only have seen a piece of this conversation. Jeremy has already tweeted that he called him like, hey, let's catch up. And now he was like, let's talk about the kids and Christmas. They were friends. Very close friends, okay? Steven Crowder has said they were friends, not colleagues, not associates, not, like I would say me and Matt Walsh and we're associates, but friends. He called his friends to talk about Christmas and his kids and said he recorded him and then dropped that recording a week later, pretending that he was doing this to be a martyr. I just don't see how people don't realize this guy is a fundamentally bad person. Like I don't understand how this is even a debate.
The phone call thing's rough.
He's not a fundamentally bad person because he did any of those things I just showed you, but because he recorded a phone call with the CEO of her company.
Thing too is, I say this about Project Veritas. I think Veritas should release the raw when they do this stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that Veritas has done that's been very, very important. But I'm often like, it could quash a lot of these.
Liberal, by the way, Tim Pool, big liberal, loves Project Veritas, said that they do important work.
You can see for yourself, minus private information, if there's like addresses or phone numbers. In this context, I'm really not a fan of snippets being released because it's like, okay, well, what led up to that moment? Like,
yeah, when he said wage slaves, we don't know the context of. It sounds to me like he was potentially asking a question about, well, do you do this, with all your time? He's like, well, this is different. You're a big person coming in, and we don't have to put as much money behind you, so we're concerned that you're going to have an ad drop. If you're a new person, you're saying you come to Daily Wire, and by this is completely a guess. I have no idea. You're coming to Daily Wire, and you're like, hey, I want to try this thing. Can you make my name bigger? Essentially, you're saying, like, here are the wages we're going to pay you. You're going to work your ass off. You know what I mean? And you have the benefit of having the entire Daily Wire network behind you. I think he was probably trying to describe, again, I have no idea, the different mentality between getting talent like Steven Crowder and trying to get him in a contract versus getting talent that's new and is looking to come to Daily Wire because they basically absorb all of the benefit. Again, I don't know, but
it is exactly what he was saying.
That's probably what he was saying.
Yeah,
and now he excerpted wage slaves as if he was these slaves that are working for me. I mean, it's a colloquialism. You know what I mean? He's using that term not seriously, but it allows him to play that excerpt and make it sound like this is how the Daily Wire treats their employees. I mean, it's just horrible stuff that he's doing with Daily Wire.
Jeremy was saying that if a new person with no audience,
yo, you're a conservative. Like, what do you mean? Of course it's wage slavery. You should be backing that.
all the content that they say they're going to own, and then when the person's done off the contract, they can go continue to be famous and successful, although Daily Wire will still own the stuff that they paid for to get produced while that person was there. And he used the term wage slave. Now, I'm with you. I don't think the term, the words themselves are that big of a deal.
No, but he wants it to come across like a big idea, like it's a very big deal because he's relying on business ignorance. He keeps doing this. He keeps relying on business ignorance, and he's appealing. I mean, this is literally a socialist tactic. He's appealing to, like, the Amazon employees who...
I have a suspicion that Tim Pool hires like people worse than him to make his bitch ass look like kind of better in comparison.
He's appealing to people that he's like, okay, think of yourself as an employee, not as a business person, right? This is a business person mindset. This is what I get from this conversation. And obviously, I'm privy to these talks with Jeremy and Caleb. This is who I negotiate my contracts with. And there have literally been times, because I'm a big girl, and I go and I sit with them where I say, there's no way I'm signing this line, They move an inch this way, I move an inch that way. They move an inch this way, and then here we are. We meet here in the middle where we all feel like this is a good contract and nobody's a slave, right? Because in order to sign a contract, if you fully comprehend it, you're not a slave. You're just not a slave.
Something I think about Jeremy personally, and not too relevant, but I think he enjoys negotiating.
I think he's a shrewd
if you want to
businessman.
work with Daily Wire, you got to know that going into it. Jeremy enjoys negotiating.
I want to read a super chat real quick because this is an important point. IDG says, Daily Wire's agenda, make profit. Crowder's agenda, saving American experiment. Exhibit, JBP deletes tweet supporting Crowder. Exhibit B, your poll. I'll tell you what I think. I don't completely disagree with that. I think the Daily Wire is a machine. I think the Daily Wire is a machine that is not the ideological system that I would personally build. We do things very differently here. The people who are here are on salary with no terms. Like if Pop Culture Crisis got banned
this
from
is a small company. That's how it is when you work for me. I have a company too, a small company where we have 7 employees, and it's familial. You see, Savannah's downstairs. We get to hang out and do fun things. We're a small company. If we grew and we suddenly had 400 employees, things have to get a lot more serious and professional.
That's true, but and I've talked to Jeremy a lot about this. And so it may just be, we're small, and then, he's like, when you get bigger, man, you're going to run into these things. And I'm like, maybe. But here's my thing. I like the Daily Wire. I think the Daily Wire is, I think Jeremy and, everybody else involved, and Jeremy's the one who made the video, are seeking to make money and use that money and build more and make more money. If the Daily Wire succeeds and makes money, and then makes more movies and makes more documentaries, that means we're going to get more What Is a Woman? It means we're going to get more, Gina Carano's. It means Hollywood will be weakened. It means as Hollywood falls from the hill, a machine that actually at least...
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, the Daily Wire is taking down Hollywood.
Faceless Machine is saying...
With movies that 12 people watch.
Well, to anyone who thinks that Steven Crowder is not doing this to make money, I just have to outwardly laugh. He's the person in a disguise. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? He's like, I'm here because I care about all of you. That's why I'm recording my friend and doing this crappy thing where I literally could have just said, no, I don't like those terms, and then said to everybody, I'm starting my own outfit. Fair. You walk away all the time. You have I have walked away.
Their Gina Carano movie made $13,000 on opening weekend.
It's a part the contract. I love those guys. I think Tyler is amazing. This is what I'm saying. People need to stop thinking that he is some knight in shining armor. He's not. He's not a knight in shining armor. And if you can't see that, watch this video because I think his acting is never more apparent. Even the titles. I didn't want to do this. Oh, really? Then why the hell did you record him? What were you doing that for? Did you think you were going to go to court?
Fair point.
Did you think you were going to go to court? Because that's the only reason you go to court. Someone you'd be like, I don't trust my ex-fucking wife. Pardon my language, okay? I don't trust my ex-wife, so I'm going to record this phone call for safety, right? You record it because you're nervous that there's going to be a court hearing or the police are going to find out, and you've got to back up what you said, okay? Why are you recording your friend? If not because you think it's going to go to court. Oh, because you think it's going to go to public and you're doing it intentionally because you know you're about to start a war. People, please use your common sense. It's not even because I work for Daily Wire. It is because he personally he's lying and he insulted me and during his lying campaign, he's still lying. He even said something in this video where he's like, now they're sending out their... No. If you're going to aim and you're going to hit somebody with shrapnel and it's going to be me, you better aim correctly because I don't like shit like this, okay? I have been quiet. I know Steven Crowder treats people like absolute trash. It's a known thing in the conservative movement. Ask anybody that works at The Blaze. Any person who's ever had a show on The Blaze, how Steven Crowder treats people. By the way, you want to talk about contract negotiations? Why doesn't somebody reach out to not gay Jared? Right, who used to be with Steven Crowder and figure out why he can't speak. Why doesn't Steven Crowder release not gay Jared from his NDA? I don't like shit like this. Is all I'm saying. I don't like it.
I want both Daily Wire and Crowder to succeed. You know,
should do a movie.
That's what we all wanted. Who cares?
Let her cook.
Yeah, something like Lethal Weapon, man. Me and Steve. It's gonna be crazy. I mean,
Luke's sitting here. I don't know what he's doing,
man.
It's just bad business. It's just bad
this
business.
is like, whoa, WWE.
Let me explain. I think
I personally just, I personally don't care, to be honest.
I want to try and
I want to talk about the globalists.
We will.
And how taxation.
He's like, I've got my notes.
I want to
He's
talk
like, come on, let's talk about the Jews a bit.
a politician.
I thought when you brought my favorite anti-Semite, Candace Owens, on, I thought we were going to talk about Jews. You know, this is going to be the anti-Jew power hour, and you guys are talking about fucking Steven Crowder.
Fair question, but doesn't need to be answered. In Texas, it's legal to record. It's a one-party consent state. So it's like saying, why is he open carrying a gun? Because he's planning to shoot someone. Like, you don't know why he's got a gun. Right. You don't know why he's recording, and it really doesn't matter.
But recording is the action. Points. Like, if he had a tape recorder when he made the phone call and didn't record, I'd say that argument is comparable, right?
For all I know, everyone in Texas is recording every conversation at every moment, and they have a right to do that, and maybe even a responsibility at this stage of reality. I don't know. You know, things you say can be taken out of context if you don't have the protection for yourself. Secondly, I think what Steven said in this video that we're probably not going to watch.
Right-wing media is so unhinged, dude. Of responsibility. Everyone in Texas
money,
needs
but
to
I
be
agree
recording their conversations.
I can't do 50 million. I need 140. 30 million.
Bro, who are you talking to, and what the fuck are you saying on phone calls?
I think 30 million.
And then Crowder said he
counteroffered.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't sign up with the So why'd you counteroffer before you decided the terms weren't available?
So after they realized the money, that's not an option. We can't do 140. Steven said, then you got to take these demonetization negative penalties out from, like, if I violate YouTube's terms, because now you're an arm of big tech because you're making me follow YouTube's terms of service. You're basically a lapdog for YouTube.
But Crowder follows their terms of service too.
We all do. That's the whole point. The first time I was on this show, it was during COVID crazy, if I remember correctly, and you said, I know you have a stance on vaccines. Let's wait until we get onto behind the paywall.
Let's be
responsible.
Let's not get banned.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 99 things we can, and then the other stuff we can put on timcast.com so that we can slide the conversation.
Oh, you're shilling for big tech. You're part of Big Con now. You're all a part of Big Con because you're being smart and you don't want to get banned until we have a comparable platform to go to. Listen, in a perfect world, we would all wish that we could do. I invest all of my time in trying to support.
In a perfect world, I could be just as racist as I want to, just as anti-black as I want to, without getting fucking owned by these platforms, which already treat us with different expectations and a different set of values anyway.
Ourselves in the foot and be nowhere to prove that we were a real one, right? Oh, it shows that you're a gangster because you got shot in your chest 9 times.
Yeah,
if you don't get shot in your chest 9 times, you're not a real gangster.
Like a real effective
stupid
fighter against that is to use the momentum of Silicon Valley against itself or it for your favor, like jujitsu it. I don't think pushing back is the right use of energy. It requires too much. So you want to use these platforms to, 1, get the word out about new platforms, and 2, as hosting. Because you can host things behind. I mean, obviously they'll get banned.
Whoa,
if they
hold on.
Give it to me.
We can check this. Pulled upon who is. The domain for Stop Big Con was registered on 12/12/2022.
Whois.com.
Stop Big Con was registered on 12/12/2022.
The internet sleuths are going to catch him.
Crowder announces he left the Blaze and asked people to sign up for Mug Club on 12.
What the fuck? Why is my No! No! See, this is why I said don't fucking tap the glass, dude.
Okay, people are smart. They're going to figure it out. Oh, so you happened to look up to register BigCon. Yeah, let's confirm that.
What's
Stop
the
BigCon.
website?
Yeah, I got it right
Is
here.
it
There you go.
stopbigcon.com?
Right now we are
12/12/2022. So this was registered. Stop BigCon was registered before he announced he was leaving the Blaze. Is that what it was?
Isn't that so weird?
He announced he was leaving the Blaze on 12. Well, look, guys, and again, Crowder will be here on Monday. He can tell us about all of this. I don't want.
And then he recorded his conversation with Jeremy 2 months after that.
I just want to say, like, we're in the middle as per usual. Candace was booked a month and a half ago. And this whole drama lights up, and then we talked with Crowder. We asked him to come on and talk about this. So.
I mean, there are so many things that I disagree with the Daily Wire on. Like, so many things.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to pull that up. I think that was on his other monitor, and he accidentally pulled that up.
And that's what I want to say. Because, like,
Stop
I said before,
looking,
I've been through the last
Tim.
3 years. You've never heard me come out and defend them. They're in trouble every other week with a different host for something that they said, something that they haven't said. Ben Shapiro's under fire at least once a week on Twitter. People are angry at him. They think it's a shill for this. I don't weigh in on anything. This actually, Steven Crowder's a bad person.
I was thinking, what if they just paid Steve?
I can't wait for these fucking dickheads to be like, Steven Crowder has never done blackface. He's being like, they're going to do like hyper critical like semantics. Like, yeah, I'm exaggerating, man. I'm making a joke. Okay. I can't wait though. I can't wait for that to be a point of contention here.
Or something. I mean, there's so many cool things we could do.
I mean, I
you
think
guys could do.
It would require Steven to just look at the term sheet and then be like, I'd rather do it this way. Here you go.
There you go. A conversation.
I'm interested to talk to him, Stephen, because I think he's got specific feelings and perspectives on what big tech censorship can do to a content creator that needs to be vocalized for future contract negotiations. I've been concerned about contracts, especially with like perpetuity clauses. Like, we own your likeness forever in every universe going forward. They'll deep fake you and make you say things with deep fakes becoming so realistic. They'll own your face and your name, and it's crazy. We need to get perpetuity clauses for characters for personality out of contract. I think so right now.
Here, I want to say this. Like, Daily Wire's got a lot of haters, and I can certainly understand not liking the Daily Wire or not liking certain personalities. I know people who are like, I love Klavan, I don't like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
I know people who are like, I only watch Candace, I won't watch anybody else. I think everyone else is bad. And I'm like, okay, but like,
that should show that like we don't all agree on everything.
But Daily Wire existing is a massive net positive, regardless of whether you like what they're doing or not. Like, again, What is a Woman was a massive cultural force, and that matters so much. We talk about culture and the importance of cultural dominance so much. That documentary reached regular people. It was so big. I mean, I regular people I know were like, oh, I saw that thing that was going viral, and I'm like, hey, that's good. Do more of that. I don't got to go work for him. Crowder doesn't have to go work for you guys. I should say you guys, but for Jeremy or anything like that.
And that's why it's so crappy to paint a broad.
I mean, he's right when he says regular people, because it is irregular people for the most part that would know what the fuck What is a Woman is.
Crowder, and yet you're basically making it seem like we're all plants and that we've done something wrong, and that's deeply upsetting to me. It's super annoying to me.
I would like to see people stop saying that company is doing thing, because it's people. The people are doing the thing with the guise of the company attempting to protect their person, their identity. But like, no, companies don't do things. People.
Fair point. Someone mentioned Crowder never said the Daily Wire.
Okay, but like the Schmaley Schmeier. I mean, how many freaking, all of the context clues were, it's like, this is the crap, the acting of like, I'm not going to say it was, but I am going to make sure you know that it's not the Blaze. They have a subscription service, and that there are live ad reads, and that they could afford to put enough money on a contract that I would have a conversation.
Does your character have glasses?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, literally, this is such a ridiculous defense. In 4 seconds, you can discern that this is about Daily Wire. Can't be Fox News. They don't have live ad reads. He already told you that it's not the Blaze. What does that leave us left with?
Didn't you say that you also recognize the contract?
Fox News.
Yeah, well, I guess no, but even before he got to it, I mean, when you say live ad reads, a subscription service, you can't be Fox News because he's already left them and talked trash with them the whole time, and they don't do live ad reads, right? Who else could it have been? Just give me another clue. Who else could it have been? PragerU, 501c3, not for profit. Can't have been them. Right. Can't be. Give me a person it could have been.
So that's what everybody was saying. Yeah. The Daily Wire.
Yeah. So I never said a name. It's like
PragerU is also owned by the Daily Wire.
Daily Wire's part that. The contract said if you get demonetized, there will be a fee, but Crowder's already demonetized.
I told you, they had these same, this is why I'm saying this was just a conversation starter. They had these same things that made literally entirely no sense in my contract. I was like, okay, is this, you guys, like, the lawyer just like copy and pasted this from somebody else's contract? Like, this is just a conversation starter. Like, they just wanted you to see the number and go, excited, and bring your lawyers in, right? There were literally things that were saying, like, I'm not on TikTok. They mentioned my TikTok. They mentioned my Snapchat. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not on any of these things, and I'm never planning on being on them. So we can strike this, and and then you say, okay, this one sounds okay. Can we include an extra line here? Like he kind of started this idea that my social media channels are controlled. Literally, they had something about access to my Twitter. Took it out. I said, I will never, ever, ever. My Twitter is how I made my entire brand. I will never even share a login to my Twitter. Right?
And
my Instagram, same exact thing. So they created a separate Instagram, which they're allowed to do, which has Candace Owens Pod, and it has its own followers, and they release stuff from the podcast. I didn't want to sell my voice, my social media things. It would have been nice for them to have access, but it's actually better for them because then they can own that page in perpetuity. Candace Owens Podcast, because I'm creating content for them, so they can share clips into perpetuity of what they have paid for, right? So it's like that's, again, he's pretending that there was something nefarious going on there. I got the same stuff that made no sense. You'd say, just like he said, this makes no sense because I'm already demonetized from YouTube. That was my circumstance for Facebook. They had a thing about demonetization from Facebook. My lawyer went back and said, Candace is already demonetized on Facebook. And they went, oh, that's right. Strike it from the clause.
For people asking too, when Crowder comes on, I'm going to let him, again, say his piece. I'm not, Candace is giving her perspective working at the Daily Wire and what...
I went through the contract negotiations, so there's no way that he can pretend that there's something missing. He didn't go through them. He went through term sheet, don't like, $140 million, wham, going on to YouTube. I went through the full 5-month negotiation, so there's nothing for me to make up here. You know what I mean?
Someone said, what if Crowder and the Daily Wire planned this for attention?
LOL.
Now we're talking.
LOL, I like that. I love a good conspiracy theory.
The Jeremy Boying response video was recorded December 3rd.
I love that.
I don't know. Look. Again, I'll say it again. Crowder's not here to defend himself. Candace
he's on YouTube.
But Candace,
on YouTube doing
Candace,
that.
how do you really feel?
But look, man, I'll wrap up with this. And we'll move on to some big worldly things with the World Economic Forum. Alec Baldwin, we got to talk about Alec Baldwin. I negotiated with the Daily Wire on here's what happened.
These people are so unfunny, it's almost shocking. No, it's not. It proves the point I was making. You don't have to be fucking good, talented, charismatic, captivating to be able to be a successful, monetizable entity in the conservative realm. That's my point. I say it all the time.
We talked. We went back and forth. And I said, guys, I don't think there's anything here. And Jeremy was like, I think you're right. We went over numbers. We went over everything. And the Daily Wire said, what if we did this? And I said, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for what we're doing because we want to do these things. And I'm just going to come out and say this. I try to keep private details, but I said, Jeremy, I might want to buy a billboard that says Liz Cheney's a fat pig. You know what I mean? I know that the Daily, and he started laughing and he went, well, I don't know about that. And I'm like, look, we're crazy weirdo rogues. What we do at Timcast, we want to be nuts, and we want to not crazy, but we want to just be. We're not the suits, and we're not the corporation. But I think what you guys are making is good because your version of the corporation is better than the Disney version of the corporation.
But I'm not the corporation either, and I want to make that very clear. And that's what annoys me is that people they have this idea of what the Daily Wire is, and then they try to say that every single host exists under this idea. We disagree all the time. There is literally, it's hard to find a moment where me and Ben Crossan agree on things. You know what I'm saying? And so they paint this thing of there is no, yes, the office is very corporate. I don't even go into the office. There's a podcast studio that I go into that is smaller than this, that I operate within. So it's very frustrating because people just don't understand. Yes, he is running his business and there's a corporate side of the Daily Wire. And it's annoying to me to have to, though, answer for people that thinking that somehow corporatizes Candace Owens. I've been the exact same Candace Owens from the beginning of my YouTube days to now.
But I'm not trying to imply anything about you or any of the hosts. I mean, it's a traditional corporation. It's got personalities of varying opinions, and us putting a 95-foot billboard of a rooster in one of the biggest Times Square billboards makes no sense as a business, but it makes sense culturally, and it makes sense. We want to be more shocking, and the Daily Wire wants to beat Disney at their game. We do to a certain degree, but I don't think. I think maybe
there's something so funny about being offended at Disney going woke, and making things political, expressly political, which I think is silly in general, right? And then turning around and being which is why we're going to make it political, but in the other direction, and that's how we'll beat Disney. Like what? You think Disney's main problem is that like they're too political in the wrong direction? Is that what you think it is? Like not enough right-wing politics? Like that's not how this works, dumbass. You got to make like fun shit
for fun.
Yeah.
And so we're actually working on some stuff. And the same thing is true. Like, you know, I talk to Crowder all the time about, well, I shouldn't say all the time, but periodically we talk about culture war issues, you know, what needs to be done, what we can do. We've talked about the stuff that Ian's working on with a decentralized network.
Yeah, I got a new company, relatively new, called Inverted Technologies, and we're building like basically what Patreon attempted to do or didn't quite get right, but that you basically download a packet, software packet, you load the application, you can upload videos to a server of your choice, one that you have at your house, you can upload it to Rumble, and then you can get all these people can pay $10 a month, whatever you want, different tiers of payments to get access to that content. And later, as we build this out, it's going to have search algorithms where you can find other people, other content creators that are using it, and create a network where everyone owns their own stuff.
And you can't be banned. The idea is like your website can also have a recommended section of similar content, and you as the website owner, so like let's say we did timcast.com and we joined this network, you will see in the recommended tab Steven Crowder. I could go, look, I don't want, you know, he's a competitor and I don't like his opinions, so I'm going to say on my website he can't appear, but he's not banned from the network, just my personal site. So basically you create a decentralized.
That's awesome.
The idea would be you launch, you buy your own server time space, or you make your own server. You buy your own domain, and then you download the package, install it on your server, and you instantly have your own Patreon. That connects to the network of all the other people using it for recommendation reasons, because the recommendation is the real driver of so much of everyone's of people. If you make good content and you make a lot of it, and it rises to the top, people will see it, and that's the machine that needs to happen. But when YouTube bans you outright, you're gone from the grid. When they shadow ban you, you're gone from the grid. This way, you can't do this. So anyway, I've talked about stuff like that, and I want to see him succeed. I would prefer that, you know, the conflict, the arguing or whatever wasn't happening. But look, I talked to Steven. I genuinely believe that he thinks Daily Wire is a net negative in the space. I don't think he's doing this for money. You're entitled to your opinion. I understand your perspective. I've talked to him about it, and he said that, you know, these kinds of contracts are, I'll paraphrase my understanding. The old guard system created the problems. Whatever we're building has to be new, and it has to be different. It has to be better. And it's funny because when I do deals with people, I joke that I'm a communist, and that's why they're getting such good terms. When I talk with Jeremy Boring, I'm like, this guy's a businessman who's trying to make sure no one can stab him in the back. The fact is, I think Steven Crowder doesn't know this because he hasn't started a business, but I've been stabbed in the back like 73 times. And it sucks every time, and I lose money every time, and my safety is threatened every time. But, you know, like I jokingly say, I'm a communist, so blah, blah, blah. I'm not literally, but when I'm trying.
But that's funny. That's like a good thing. He just openly admitted that like treating your workers fairly is communism, and that's a good thing.
People, and
what?
that's
even when they're, what is going on?
Daily Wire for running their business the way business is run. I like the content the Daily Wire produces.
What?
I just won't be there when they produce it.
Wonderful. You're a free market capitalist. Your idea is that if you believe that you have something better or you can do something better, you create the something better. And I think you take out the old guys. I mean, like, is that a foreign concept? Has this become a foreign concept? Like, do we have to all be so nasty? To me, I just don't get it because I've never, since I've gotten into politics, I've never understood the mentality that you need to step on someone's head to go where. Like, oh, I just need to step on this person's head so that I can move upstream. It's like, why don't you learn to swim if you want to go upstream? You know, why don't you learn to swim and tread some water if you want to go upstream? What is this? What for a little bit of, I'm going to burn friendships? You keep calling them your friend. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'll say my final thought on this, I suppose. And then again, Crowder will be here on Monday. We'll have a conversation from his perspective. Yo, if you're going to stop anybody, I don't understand why going after the Daily Wire is the first target. Even if the Daily Wire was doing these really awful contracts, like, or
like
they're doing term sheets, they're doing contracting in ways you don't like, I still think it's like, well, okay, well, at least they made What is a Woman? Let's focus on Disney and Netflix. Netflix has done a bunch of pedo stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the Daily Wire is just not a concern for me. Even if I was going to come out and be like, 49% of the business dealings of the Daily Wire I don't like, but 51 is good, then I'd be like, I'll take that 1% and I'll focus on Netflix doing weird pedo crap.
Yeah.
But I actually think the Daily Wire is much better than that. It's not my kind of business style. So, you know, I hope Crowder just does his thing and succeeds. And I think it's simple. You know, if it were me and I really did see the Daily Wire as a net negative, I'll put it this way. I mean, I talk about Disney all the time. I say, I don't expect you to abandon your Disney subscriptions because they have flubber. They have movies you know and love. I just hope to build a better website that eventually produces enough to where you say, I'd rather not have Disney. That's my strategy. But again, guys, I'm the milquetoast fence sitter. I'm the reformer, not a revolutionary. I'm not going to come out, smash the ball on the ground and be like, I will stand for nothing. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do the math. I'm going to go, Daily Wire's doing pretty good. I might not like that, but that's good for us. So, okay, where's our net problem? I'm much more slow pace and calculating than that. I think if the Daily Wire
I can't get over them like unironically and genuinely and legitimately stating that like Daily Wire is going to overtake Disney. I love that. Like dream big, you know what I mean? Like fucking you're going to do it.
I think that Jeremy and Steven have seen each other as friends is important because sometimes it's easiest to criticize your friends. It's easier to criticize your friends than people that might go sue you and don't have any connection to you at all. And that Daily Wire is gaining a lot of steam and becoming larger and larger. So if there really are problems with the contracts or the terms off the bat, it's important that they know that right away from people with large levels of influence.
We definitely got to move on because we got to talk about Alec Baldwin, but two special shout-outs. Shout out to Hassan the Hun. He said on Twitter, I can't get over Steven Crowder having his $50 million pay docked for getting banned if he does too much racism when he's being hired by the Daily Wire to do blackface and every other flavor of bigotry. Hassan's obviously joking. I thought it was a really, really funny tweet. I think it's funny. Getting hired to do blackface. And then Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee.
He won the day. I love Seth.
He said, I didn't want to make this video. I wanted to take a nap, but my hand was forced. And then he makes this video where
oh God, I'm doing something wrong now. Okay, they got that I was joking. Okay, no, I was exaggerating. That's not what he's saying, but like, positive reviews. Hassan